You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
The time has come. It's Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast time, and everybody knows what that means. Wrestling. We do the wrestlings, we talk the wrestlings, we wrestle the wrestlings. It's wrestling. Business and wrestling and doing the thing. So it's going to be wrestle time, because it's the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast. It's not, freaking ballerina cast where we talk about dancing and comfy shoes and pretty tutus. That's not how it goes. You know how it goes. So, expect what you're going to get. So, on this episode, we've got a lot of wrestling talk. This, I think, is going to be one of the better episodes, and I'll tell you why. The reason being is that I've been busy with work and home and family, and I haven't watched a whole lot of wrestling, so I probably won't have a whole lot to say, which is going to make this show one of the better ones, because you're going to get the intro, you're going to get participation in Stump the Champs, and that's pretty much it. Maybe the occasional random burpo, but let's face it, it could get worse. No, it could be better. Well, I don't know what it could be, but this is what it could be. A thank you to the sponsors, and I'm going to do it now, and I'm going to do it in quick fashion. Thank you to Casual Gaming Dad. He does video game things. We do Among Us with him. It is fun times. He's on the YouTubes, he's on the Twitches, he's on the Facebooks. Freaking look him up. You'll get it. He's not hard to find. I tried, and I found him. And I'm not that smart. So if I can do it, you can do it too. Also, thank you to Sean Tischler. He does a lot of stuff for IWC in Clearfield, Pennsylvania. Indie shows, indie promotions, they're great things to watch if you're a sports and fan and person, and very fun. He does stuff for us. What he does, I don't know, but he does stuff. So thank you to him. Anyway, let's kick off the wrestle talk, and bye-bye, Ransom.
Okay, before we do that, Ransom, please tell me that you moonlight as a clown for children and call yourself Burpo.
Nope.
Oh, okay, good talk.
What he does, I don't know.
So there's a lot going on. It's a new year. We got some new champions around.
Yeah, we got new champions, but none here. None at all. None whatsoever.
Yeah. Yep, none whatsoever.
By the way, who was that really handsome luchador you took a picture with?
I don't know. We haven't come up with a name for him yet.
I think you mispronounced jabroni.
Lucha Jabroni.
Listen, don't call your champion a
Jabroni-dor.
jabroni. That's not nice.
I call him whatever I want. And I call him
you
Tom.
the worst because it's
Tom,
true.
Tom, we're glad to have you back tonight, buddy.
Yeah.
It's just not the same without you. But yeah, as predicted, we've had a pretty fucking great week of wrestling.
Absolutely.
It's not over. We still have SmackDown tomorrow night, which, apparently SmackDown's okay. And Impact, Hard to Kill pay-per-view on Saturday, which Kenny Omega's wrestling. So, it won't be the drizzlingest of shits.
Who is he
honestly, he's in a six-man tag match. He's wrestling with the Good Brothers versus the Impact champion, who I believe is Chris Bay. Oh, I'm bad for not knowing. No, Rich Swann. My bad. Rich Swann and Motor City Machine Guns. So anytime you include Kenny and the Machine Guns and the Good Brothers, Rich Swann is nothing. He's had his personal troubles, but he's pretty fucking gifted in the ring. So
and that's kind of the thing, is that I was going to point out with this before we kind of get into the meat of other stuff that kind of went on this week. Rich Swann, watching his work in Impact is fairly impressive, because he really brought himself back from the doldrums. He took his medicine, as they say. He took his lumps. He quote unquote did his time, quote unquote, and came out better for it, because he's doing really well in Impact. And like you said, his in-ring work is I would say markedly above average.
Oh my God, and then some. Rich Swann's in-ring work and charisma was never in question. The fact is, he's not a good dude, or at least
Nope.
wasn't a good dude. He may have changed, but again, and I think we roll back on this pretty fucking often, wrestlers, for the most part, are not good dudes. You'll have your one in a fucking million, your diamonds in the rough, your Brody Lees, but at the end of the day, it's a bunch of slime balls and a slime ball business. Deal with it.
Wow.
Well
Looking
then.
at, and
Big
so I
beef
mean,
throwing
and I
shade.
mean, no, I mean that, local guys notwithstanding, because I think a lot of local guys are pretty stand-up dudes who have their. I mean, in all honesty, like I think anybody who kind of supersedes the norm, if you will. Your like top flight CEOs, your actors, your actresses, your sports athletes, they tend to live outside of the means that we normally would. And sometimes that can make them not the best people in the world. But yeah, I mean, people like that tend to live above what we would and outside of those normal, quote unquote virtues, morals, whatever. So, and I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just saying that that's how that thing kind of happens. And again, that's not everybody. It's a lot of them. But
Money
that
does
notwithstanding,
change sometimes.
I'm sorry, get Tom?
I said money does change people.
Right, and that's unfortunate, but that's, human condition. Thanks for coming to the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast TED Talk.
The Beefburg Beef Driver Beefcast Beef Talk.
But I mean, the card looks good. Not to cut you off, but the card for Hard to Kill looks good. Outside of Omega and the Good Brothers versus Swan and the Guns, you have Manic, Suicide, whatever you want to call him, versus Chris Bay versus Rohit. Raju, which is, Rohit's pretty big up and coming name, and Chris Bay is one of the best out there right now for that style of match. Deonna Purrazzo, who's had a hell of a year, versus Taya Valkyrie, Impact mainstay and John Morrison's girlfriend, or wife, actually. And Eddie Edwards, I'm sitting some of the high points. Eddie Edwards versus Sami Callihan in a barbed wire massacre match. I don't know what that is, but fuck if I'm not curious.
Probably their version of a death match. I don't know.
I'll kill your death match. My God, it sounds like Tom's like going into a convenience store to rob it.
What? I'm sorry. It's the headset.
I know why. I know.
It'll be
it's
better.
Fine. Don't worry about it. You're fine. I just thought it was funny. No,
I'll be back with you.
And okay. And that's kind of the thing. And Ransom, I think this is something you could actually chime in on, because I know you said you've been very, very busy. You've been very busy, and no one's beleaguering that fact. But the thing that you could agree on from what you have been able to catch, and I think Beef can echo this as well, is that wrestling right now, and I've been saying this for a while, and some of the times I really had to force myself to say it, but right now, you look at Impact, you look at New Japan, which I have not watched Wrestle Kingdom yet. That's the only thing I didn't get to this week. But I think you guys could agree, right now, seriously, all over, on average, this is such a good time to be a wrestling fan. It really is.
This is a good time to be a wrestling fan that isn't stuck in the bubble of WWE. I think you're right on the money with the whole, a lot of these promotions are doing a lot of good things. I'm hesitant to pat WWE in the back when it comes to that, though, because welcome back, Goldberg. Prime example of things that people aren't doing well. So, yeah, it's a great time to be a fan of wrestling if you're not stuck on WWE, because in WWE world, welcome back 2002.
And Tom, I'm gonna let you go off on the whole Goldberg thing, because you hate Goldberg more than I hate anything. So I'm thrilled to hear you talk about that. But Tom just suplexed something.
I should.
But no, like that's kind of and Ransom, you saying that because it is Goldberg, but saying back in it's stuck in 2002, that's kind of, in my opinion, NXT aside, that's kind of how I feel about WWE in general. NXT and NXT UK, basically the NXT umbrella. The rest of it, I really feel like WWE is just like it's that idea. I knew someone one time who said music should have stopped at 1979. Like, I like that. I don't like that. And that's kind of what it feels like with WWE is they are just stopped and stuck and digging in their heels and saying, no, we're going to keep doing things this way because it worked in the past.
Well, yeah, I didn't mean to make it sound like I was lumping NXT in with that. I don't.
Oh,
no.
No.
Yeah, I mean, when I say WWE, I hope everybody knows that I'm referring to Raw and SmackDown. If I'm going to talk about NXT, I'm going to call it NXT. I'm not going to call it WWE because
you're going to give it the respect
while
it
they
deserves.
might be, huh?
I said you'll give NXT the respect it deserves.
Yes,
huh?
Yes, you're right. You're right on that because I feel like even though NXT is the quote unquote third brand or developmental or whatever you want to call it, they set themselves apart from WWE, which is Raw and SmackDown. I can watch NXT on a weekly basis. I don't, not because I have anything against NXT. I just usually don't have the time. But when I do catch it, especially the takeovers, when I go back and watch it on the network, because let's face it, the only thing I'm watching on the network are old Attitude Era, old WCW, and current NXT. I don't watch current WWE on the network. But when I watch NXT, they clearly set themselves apart from WWE main roster, Raw and SmackDown. And in my humble opinion, they're far superior. They're a far superior brand than Raw and SmackDown. So yes, I want to give them the credit that they deserve and not lump them in with the WWE living in the past umbrella.
So here, okay. Now,
To me,
I don't disagree with you guys. I definitely don't. But somebody pointed this out in a side chat I have that if you take away the television contracts, which if ratings stay in the old dumperooski, while they may not lose their television contracts, the television contracts aren't going to be worth much more than the paper they're printed on. If you take out the $2 billion+ contracts for television, WWE is hurting financially. Even with the Saudi shows, which are maybe about 50 mil a piece. And I know to us, that sounds like a lot of money. But when you're running let's face it, a wrestling empire, a media empire at this point, 50 million is a drop in the bucket, man. To make all this shit run, to have all these people, not just the wrestlers' contracts, obviously, but, the fucking teamsters, the fucking people that set up, the makeup, the hair, graphic artists, etc. Shit ain't cheap. And they're not making $50 a pay-per-view anymore. Those days are long in the past because they've weaned everyone onto their network now. And it's not like their subscriber count's growing by the fucking thousands anymore. I think that everybody who has the network, who is going to buy the network, probably has it. But, and this is where my point's going, with guys like Goldberg, they see an instant cash-in. They see immediate dollar signs. They see trading in your 401k so that you can get a set of tires. In my view, or as I would normally say to me, this is a poor decision, obviously, because you are not preparing for the future. You are trying to capitalize on a financial payday now. Is it working? I don't know. Raw was up over 2 million viewers last week, so you tell me.
All right. The thing is, with Goldberg, as much disdain that I have for him as a character and as a person in general. It's one thing, and we've talked about this before, it's one thing to have these returning legends come back for a nostalgia pop to help put the younger guys over, okay? It's another thing for them to come back and politic their way into winning title matches and bullshit like he did at the Saudi show against The Fiend, and like I'm sure he did now with fucking Drew McIntyre. The thing is, even Goldberg aside, the fucking WWE is losing touch with connecting the fucking dots. Because if you look at what happened with the returning legends, who was the person like disrespecting the legends and going around and talking shit the whole night? It was Orton. Okay? What's the payoff from that going to be? We're going to get Orton versus fucking Mark Henry with his gout? I don't think so. That's true. I mean, that's why he's around on his fucking little mobile, one-leg scooter there. But you got to think, like, what's the payoff? So you have this going on. That's point A. Point B is then whenever Goldberg does come out, he starts talking to Drew about disrespecting the legends, which Drew has been, was doing nothing but, like, praising the legends and being nice to them and, brother with Hulk Hogan and everything. So it just doesn't fucking make sense. And add in my hatred for Goldberg, and I'm like, why the fuck should I watch Raw anyways? Why?
Real quick,
Why?
Two big problems with Raw. One was allegedly Ric Flair was supposed to trip, and I don't remember who they were facing. I apologize. I was not that invested. But Charlotte Flair and Asuka were in a tag team match, and Ric Flair was allegedly supposed to trip Charlotte's opponent, and he instead tripped Charlotte. Charlotte got in his face, demeaned him, made him go to the back, and we saw a sad Ric Flair, which apparently is something that the company is big on now. Everybody's saying, hey, let's trash Ric Flair's legacy because clearly Charlotte is the better Flair. But to your point, Tom, I read that, and I think Uncle Dave reported this, that Dave Meltzer, for all of you uninitiated, that there was supposed to be a segment after the Keith Lee Drew McIntyre match, which I'm glad didn't get cut short. I thought that it was a very good match, which is weird when we're talking about how many really very good matches there were this week, to include Drew McIntyre versus Keith Lee from Raw. Obviously, I have a problem with Keith Lee not winning. We'll get there. But allegedly there was supposed to be a segment after the match where McIntyre was going to like run down the legends or say something derogatory about the legends that was cut for time. They even gave Drew a live mic and he started, and then they immediately started the Goldberg music and fake ass chants over top of it. So I don't know if that's true, but it makes sense.
I think the thing that chaps my ass is the fake ass chants. I really do. Like, if I don't know if there was a crowd there, and you guys can call me dumb for this. I really don't know if there was a crowd there, if people would be chanting Goldberg and super hyped to see him again, seriously. After the bad press and everything, and I understand you got to be kind of a smark to have been on the dirt sheets and read about how Goldberg, politicked his way to beating the Fiend at the last Saudi Blood Money for the bloodening blood. Blood Money for the Gangrel Spit.
Oh God!
Like,
on that note, I'll be right back. I'm gonna switch back over to the to my regular shit.
Okay, cool.
So you may have to readjust audio levels.
Yeah, I'm already on it.
And then
I'm on it.
I'll follow up on that.
I'm on it. Bye, champ. Oh, now he's gone. Okay, good. I'm the worst. So my point is, my point is, I really feel like they're kind of taking advantage while they can, because whenever crowds are there, though, I really think Goldberg might be met with lukewarm reception. But again, the viewer stats might say, but then again, we all know they tuned in for Alicia Fox, right?
So listen, I need to say a few things here.
Go.
One, this might not be the opinion of everybody here, and I'm sure someone's going to have a contrary opinion and feel the need to voice it. That's fine. I disagree with Legends coming back and being in a title picture in any capacity. That's my feeling on it. I don't think whoever wants to challenge that, fine, by all means. You won't change my opinion. I felt that way for a long time. If you want to bring Legends back for hey, I'm here, smash some beers together, drink some beers, swim in the beer in the ring, whatever, fine. Hulk Hogan comes out with his boas, brother, fine. If you even want to have a match with Legends versus a legend killer, Randy Orton, fine. I don't like the idea, even if you don't plan on having a title change hands. Let's just say, for example, Keith Lee gets a title shot against Drew McIntyre. I would rather see that than Drew McIntyre versus any coming back legend for a title. Because I believe that if you're the champion, you should be defending your belt against a talent that is always there, a current roster talent. That's my feeling of it. I feel like giving that spot to a legend is taking that spot away from a talent who comes to work every day, tries their best, busts their butt, and is trying to work their way up. That's my feeling on that. Feel free to disagree, fine. Second, frickin' this Goldberg segment sticks in my undies a little bit because Goldberg comes out, allegedly, I didn't watch it, and runs down Drew McIntyre for being mean to the Legends. Now, if that was supposed to happen, fine. I don't know why. Are you going to turn Drew McIntyre heel? That's besides the point. But if you're going to have, if that was the plan, and you had to scrap that promo because of time, and again, I guess it's Goldberg, so you really can't have him adjust on the fly because he's terrible on the mic. But why have him come out and mention Drew McIntyre running down Legends when we didn't see Drew McIntyre running down Legends air on the show? That doesn't make sense. If Goldberg just wants to come down and challenge him, fine. If Goldberg wants to come down and run him down for something else, fine. I still hate you, Goldberg. But it would make more sense than to have Goldberg reference a promo that Drew McIntyre didn't get to cut because of time. That seems sloppy and not thought through and doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Finished.
Well, that's to your point. That's what I was going to say is like it just doesn't make sense. The thing that would have made sense if we're hell bent, if we're hell bent on, you know, that, oh, we're definitely having Goldberg coming back and we're definitely putting him in a title match, wouldn't it have made more sense to put him in a match against Roman Reigns because of the shit all the shit that transpired whenever COVID started and Roman staying home and then stuff like that? That would have made more sense.
But plus Goldberg even called him out on the bump.
Hold on. That would have made more sense if you were absolutely dead set on doing that. I agree with Ransom to a point, Goldberg or not, that I don't want to see. I don't want to see Legends come back. And here's the only caveat I'll say where I'll bend but not break. I'll say I don't mind seeing them in a title match if they're going to put the younger talent over or whatever, because you get the payday, you get the nostalgia factor, and then that whoever else is in there with that legend gets the rub from them, and that's fine. But push your younger talent. If you don't have faith in your younger talent and you have to depend so heavily on the old guard, then you're fucking not doing something right, because you should be investing in the future. You should be encouraging your talent, maybe not handing them fucking, 15-page scripts for them to memorize, and actually let them go out and be a goddamn professional wrestler. How about we try doing that for a change? Go on, Beef.
The one thing that you said there makes me nervous about Drew McIntyre.
What's that?
Is that you're right. I feel like it would make more sense to have Goldberg come out and go up against Roman Reigns, going away during COVID, calling himself the head of the table, calling himself the big dog. He's the guy. There's a lot of angles that Goldberg could go off of on that.
Right.
Or they could have him go off, because let's face it, I don't think he could do it on his own. But
Right.
the thing that makes me nervous about Drew McIntyre, and that would make sense to have those two fight it out. Roman Reigns wins. The young guy goes over the legend. The legend does the favor for the young guy and makes the young guy look strong because he beat a legend. He beat a guy, granted, Goldberg, but he beat Goldberg, who beat The Fiend clean, beat Kevin Owens clean, beat Brock Lesnar clean. So regardless of how trash he is, he has, and someone touched on it last week, I think it was Beef, he has beaten clean a number of high-profile talents. So to have Roman Reigns go over on him would make sense, and it would give the rub to Roman Reigns. What has me nervous about Drew McIntyre, and I don't know if they're going to give Drew McIntyre the rub, but it makes me more nervous about him going up against Drew McIntyre because, A, I'm assuming they're going to both be booked as faces, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you're going to have Goldberg as the face, wouldn't it make more sense to have him go up against the heel champion? Whatever.
Exactly.
But with him going up against Drew McIntyre, it really makes me afraid that Drew McIntyre is going to do the job to Goldberg and drop the title to him, because they're not going to have Roman Reigns drop the title to Goldberg, but they just might have Drew McIntyre drop the title to him, and it makes me nervous.
So going from a couple things, I should be making notes while you guys are talking. First of all, Goldberg even called out Roman Reigns on the bump like a month ago.
Right.
Now, I know that WWE fans have notoriously short memories because apparently we're all fucking drooling idiots. But, I mean, it's a fucking month. And nothing's happening in COVID times. Nothing at fucking all. So there's no reason that people should forget about this unless they are admitting that no one watches their shitty network shitty shows. Which
Shitty bang bang.
Which is terrible as well. But I mean, yeah, you guys are 100% correct. The Roman Goldberg thing writes itself. Goldberg, who is presumably a face, which I fucking disagree with his whole career, but neither here nor there. And McIntyre, a face, makes zero sense for a money matchup. You want to have a heel versus heel? That's fine. Heel versus heel can draw money. Face versus heel is where you draw the money. Face versus face, no one's going to be invested in that. So, and Tom, you said, or I think it was actually Ransom, said about Goldberg talking about McIntyre disrespecting the legends after the promo was cut. That's the thing, man. I'm convinced Goldberg has very little brain in that fucking melon on his head. He can't fucking think through a promo on his feet. They gave him cue cards that he probably spent hours studying. And then we're like sitting in Gorilla, and they're like, "You gotta go, just go." Steve Austin's coming up next. Welcome to Straight Up Steve Austin. Like, you gotta go and get out there and give this promo. He didn't fucking put two and two together and realize, or he doesn't fucking care. And there, I think, is the issue, that he doesn't care. He didn't fucking watch minute one of the product on Monday night.
Well,
he doesn't fucking care.
I told you, I said on Robert Oberst's YouTube channel, he does a thing where he sits down and has beers with different athletes and different people and everything. And he sat down with Goldberg, and on there, Goldberg basically said, fuck the fans. That's basically what he said.
Yeah, and that was how long ago too? I remember us talking about that. I remember you mentioning that a while back, but how long ago was that interview that he did?
Not too long ago, honestly. I'll tell you what, I'll look it up. You guys keep going.
Yeah.
He basically did the same thing on the Broken Skull sessions with Steve Austin. He basically did the same thing, came out and he pretty much said he doesn't understand the business, doesn't understand what's going on. His repertoire is go out, jump, 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 punch, 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 kick, 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 breathe the fire, spear, jackhammer, over. He made reference to that about how that was his repertoire. And when WCW decided to change it up, they didn't know what they were doing because they didn't know how he worked, because he should have just gone out and smashed people this, smashed people that, Hulk smash, Goldberg smash. So I think that's a staple of his entire wrestling career is he doesn't understand the business. He doesn't care about the business. He doesn't care or understand about the fans. He shows up, spear, jackhammer, payday, goodbye.
It was 5 months ago, by the way.
Jesus Christ.
And like it or not, like Goldberg and Lesnar are always going to draw comparisons because they have much the same routine. I don't think Lesnar cares about the fans either, if I'm being real. But Lesnar gets the business. He understands.
There's the difference.
He understands his marketability, how him losing could affect, how him winning could affect, and he sees the light at the end of the tunnel. Is Brock Lesnar in it for the dollar signs? You bet your fat ass he is. But he doesn't. He gets it. Goldberg doesn't get shit except for fucking paid at the window.
Well, and here's the other difference too. Even though Brock Lesnar only has, five moves, if that, in his repertoire,
which is garbage. He has a ton. Again, you work smarter, not harder.
Right.
If you can succeed with 5 moves without busting your body up, you go for it, big guy.
But here's the difference. Here's the difference. I don't care if I see Brock Lesnar, German suplex somebody, 20 different times with 15 variations of a German suplex, whatever. I don't care. Brock Lesnar can actually, go 15, 20-minute matches. Goldberg, what's the longest match he had? 7 minutes, 8 minutes tops? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Something like that. No,
probably the
right.
one. Probably the one with the Undertaker where he almost killed him, and then probably the one where he was in WCW where Regal made him look like a fool. That's literally probably the longest matches that Goldberg has ever had in his career. I'd almost be willing to stake a fucking paycheck on it.
Let's not beleaguer the fact either that Brock Lesnar will put a guy over.
Yes, like look what he did for Drew. Yeah, look what he did for Drew when he took that.
Yeah, he's put. I mean, look at his first run too. His first run, before the fighting shorts, when he was wearing the tights, Brock Lesnar, or wearing the trunks, whatever. Before he went to UFC, and even when he came back, he's put over quite a few people, and it doesn't look like he's forcing himself to do it. When he puts over somebody, it looks like he's putting them over. Like, it looks legit and it looks good. And the difference I feel like between Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, the big difference is, yes, they're both in it for the money, and I beleaguer neither of them for that fact. If you're going to get paid, you go get paid. If I could do that, you better damn well believe I would. But, what's happening in the background?
Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah, somebody freaking muted up, son.
Fucking Jake breaks are happening.
Oh, good. But the difference I feel like between Goldberg and Lesnar is, while they're both in it for the money, Goldberg, I feel like, and I don't know, this is speculation, I don't know either one of them, but I feel like Goldberg will politic his way to looking good, getting wins, because the payday is important to him, but right behind that is looking like the guy, looking like the man. I don't want to put these people over. I want to go over on these people, and he'll politic his way to do that. If Brock Lesnar shows up for work and they say, you're the first on the card, you're dropping your title, this is what's going to happen. Brock says, are you going to pay me? And they say yes. And he goes, you got it, boss. I'm on my way to the ring. That's where I feel like the difference lies. And I like Goldberg, I like Lesnar a little bit more because of that, because he's not going to politic his way into things. Are you going to pay me money? Yes. Then you tell me what you want me to do, and I'll go out there and I'll do it.
And if we're being honest, listen, fuck them legends, all right? I don't give 2 shits about Jeff Jarrett and his flashy coats, Mark Henry and his fucking mobile water chair. Fucking Alicia.
Go easy.
Alicia Fox, Jimmy the Mouth of the South Heart, fucking Hulk Hogan. The only one I gave the damn about is Melina, because honest to God, I think that Melina could still go out there and hang with the best of them right now, and she's still got a fucking great look. But literally,
I bet she could. Oh yeah.
Everybody else that was there on Monday night, I looked at and go, why are you here? Other than coming for your fucking yearly paycheck where Vince says, no, watch USA, we can get these ratings up. You just wait and you see. So, and every time they do this, it's fucking 3 steps forward, 8 steps back. Because they're like, look what we can do. And people pop for it. And Vince is like, And Vince is like, oh, hey, look, people love the old fogies. Let's fucking trot them out for WrestleMania. And all of a sudden, everybody and their brother gets a special WrestleMania match. It's
When
fucking
on earth did Alicia
frustrating.
Fox become a legend?
I don't know.
Retired, yes. Legend?
She was
No.
She was featured in another Legends episode at some point, and everyone was confused. And then they're doing it again, and people are like, "Really? You're calling her a legend?" To be fair, okay, was she the best in-ring worker? Far from it. However, she was in that group that kind of was the forerunners of the women's revolution, and I think that's why internally they are considering her a legend.
Just because you existed in a group that there were a few standouts in, I don't feel gives you the right to be called a legend.
Exactly.
When you look at that group, when I look back at that group, I look at Trish Stratus, legend. Lita, legend. I look at Candice Michelle, legend.
Mickey, Melina, those?
Legends. I don't look at
Michelle?
Alicia. Yes,
No.
I don't look at Alicia Fox as a legend. She was grouped in with those people. She existed and wrestled at the same time. Yes, but I don't feel like she's anywhere near any of those levels. Like, I don't think she's a legend.
She was part of the problem. Her, fucking Barbie Blank, a.k.a. Kelly Kelly,
Yep.
Tori Wilson, Stacy Keibler.
Yep.
I don't care how good they were to look at, how fucking good their Playboys were, whatever. They didn't know wrestling. Stacy, God love her, she tried. But at the end of the day,
Tori got better towards the end. She started to debatable, but
and then as soon as she found out that there was another cash cow that she could milk, phew, she was fucking gone.
yeah.
And that's unfortunately, a lot of people do that. A lot of people use wrestling as like a side hustle until they can find their rock way out. Until they can find something more lucrative to do with their 15 minutes of fame. But yeah, no, I 100% Alicia Fox was part of the problem. That took a great women's division predicated on Trish and Lita. They believe you me, they pulled that division out of the absolute worst situation imaginable, and they made it respectable. They passed it on to women like Mickie James, Melina, Michelle McCool, and even Layla. For all that she was decent in the ring. And then Vince is like, piss on them. We don't, people don't care about actual women wrestling. They just want to see fucking bra and panties matches. So let's get a bunch of models up here. And who cares if they can wrestle? Who cares if they can't? Just fucking put them out there.
Yeah.
When it went from the first women's division, maybe not first, but when it went from the 90s, 2000s women's division to the Divas division, that's where you dropped it off.
Yep.
You stopped caring about titles and you started caring about big fake tits, skimpy outfits, trod them out. Here's my body. Here's softcore Playboy. Give us the money. The Divas division was a blight for women's wrestling in WWE. There could have been so much more, but you went from women's division to Divas. Thank the good Lord above, shut up, that they went back to the women's division and you had that women's revolution. Yeah, Charlotte has more plastic on her than my daughter's Barbie dolls, but still, there's wrestling.
And the thing is, though, the Divas division, I think, was them trying to recapture the Attitude Era thing. It was. I mean,
oh yeah,
it was absolutely them trying to recapture that fire. And unfortunately, because you had that crossover of actually talented in-ring performers and models, it was all kind of, the stink was on it. And plus, I'm sorry, that belt didn't help.
No,
and,
it definitely did not.
No. And thank God, to reiterate with what Ransom said, thank God we have what we have now, because this week on NXT, Oh, why am I blanking? Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez was awesome. It was a great match. It was really good.
I have to get back to that point. I have one other thing to say on the previous subject. Anytime if we mention Alicia Fox, can we mention her as Alicia Fox? Like fucking Noam Dar used to do?
No, we can't because that belittles Noam Dar. I'm sorry. Noam Dar is way too good. The Scottish Supernova, no. Like, that, I don't want to ever remember that.
Okay.
I think he's in NXT UK.
He is.
Okay. Thank you. Just wanted to make sure that was my follow-up question. And two, I was going to say, getting off the negative into the positive, like
we spent way too many fucking minutes talking about Raw. We're done with Raw.
41 to be exact.
God damn. Well, NXT, fucking big banger matches there. That fucking last women's standing match was awesome. And can I just say, I love fucking seeing Dakota Kai get stuffed into a locker.
Yeah.
I said to Beef before you started watching it, Poot, I said to Beef in a private message, I was like, the only thing that would have made it even better is if they had some like little graphic pop up of like Gallows and Anderson, and they just went nerd. Like that would have been
like
so
the cartoon,
great.
like heads in a burst just going back and forth.
I gotta be real here because I'm gonna circle it back. We talked about how Raw has no foresight, and I know we said we're not talking about Raw anymore, but I'm leading somewhere. That Raw has no.
But he's gonna do it anyway.
That they're relying on the past instead of the future. NXT is proving, with beyond a shadow of a doubt, that they are building to the future and not looking at the past.
Exactly.
With this one win, Raquel Gonzalez goes from potential afterthought, and again, in my estimation, she has grown by leaps and fucking bounds the last 6 months. She went from a fumbly enforcer to somebody who looks very, very polished in the ring. So, with them giving her this win over Rhea, I think that tells you everything that you need to know, that she's going to be a fucking force in the women's division. So they are definitely looking forward. And the same shit can apply with the Cross and the Priest match, man. And again, so, and I found out that it's not just me, that a lot of people were very shaky on Damian Priest when he first showed up. And we've kind of touched on it before, but when he first showed up, he was going through the motions. As the character evolved over the last probably year or so, he has really evolved that character of Damian Priest to fit who he is, which is a fucking like club bouncer turned wrestler. Like he's added the fucking rock star mentality to that character, and I am buying all the way in. So I am 100% fine with Cross winning last night, and I think that Priest losing doesn't hurt him, but I think that signals him and Rhea's exit from NXT to the main stage, as it were.
Yeah, I agree with at the very least I think I see that with Rhea. With Damian Priest, maybe not so much, but I think maybe they just wanted to give Cross that win to start build him back up so he can reclaim the title that he technically never lost.
He was supposed to be pulled up months ago, FYI. Priest was supposed to be debuting on SmackDown about 4 or 5 months ago.
Oh, really?
They held it off. Yeah, they held it off, but this is why I think that we're probably going to be seeing the Priest man show up on SmackDown sooner rather than later. And again, SmackDown, I'm fine with.
You know what? I already, if that's the case, if he does go to SmackDown, just a real quick thought on that. I think it would be really cool to see him and Baron Corbin in a program together. You know, some really good. I could see that as some good big man, but agile big man matches right there. Which like you mentioned in our chats today, we had a lot of those good big man matches this week too. The Kyle O'Reilly Finn Balor match was awesome. Can we talk for a moment about fucking Austin Theory getting shot in the dick by Shotzi Blackheart's tank? That was great.
I was very underwhelmed by Balor and O'Reilly.
It was good. To be fair, I still never got around to going back and watching their first match there from the last event. So I don't have anything to compare it to. But I was entertained by it. I thought they put on a good match.
It was.
I think both their matches have been underwhelming, and again, maybe it's just me, but I don't feel like either of them really kind of lived up to the hype.
I think
the first one had the injury thing. This one, I just feel like wasn't that good.
I think the reason why you're underwhelmed and why a lot of people might be underwhelmed is because you were probably hoping for more high spots. Like, and it was a lot of ground game. It was a lot of like submission, fundamental, visceral, more of a fight than, you know, and I'm not trying to compare apples and oranges here, but I feel like because of who these two are, you were probably assuming we're going to get an NJP style match with a lot of high impact stuff that looks really brutal and showy and a lot of high spots and stuff. And that's not like, I mean, Finn Balor does some high spots, but he's doing
is my favorite.
He's
though.
not finished beef.
Yeah, but I'm gonna
I tried.
like,
technical wrestling is my favorite. Like, I love technical wrestling. I love catch can wrestling. I love watching Timothy Thatcher, guys like that in the ring. And you're right. Like, O'Reilly and Balor was that. I wasn't. It didn't pop for me. That's all I'm saying.
But again, I think it's for the reason that I said. I know you love technical wrestling. I know you do. But I think it's because you've seen what both these guys can do. You were expecting, you know, this, I think something a lot bigger and larger with more drama. Not saying the drama wasn't there, but like I said, I feel like a lot of people were looking for that NJP style match, like almost, and if again comparing apples and oranges, almost kind of like in the vein of what Omega and Phoenix had this past week on AEW. And I'm not trying to segue. I'm just saying I feel like that is what people, and I'm not being accusatory towards you, Beef. I feel like that's what you were expecting. And it wasn't, because Balor, and I'm almost done, Tom. I apologize.
Yeah, sorry.
But like,
sorry.
I feel like that's not Balor's character right now. Like, because of the Prince thing and how just he feels like a force. He feels like an emperor sitting on a throne. You know, he has like just this come at me, especially afterwards with the whole Undisputed Era, you know, kind of comforting Kyle O'Reilly, and Kyle O'Reilly looking at Balor with like fearful respect and like understanding, okay, all right, okay. Like it's frustration and anger, but it's definitely a dog with its tail between its legs. And Balor standing there just looking like an absolute unit. Like, you know, it's just not what it was going to be. So I feel like that I enjoyed it. I really liked it. And I loved the O'Reilly biting the rope and Balor kicking it.
That was a great spot.
Oh
So
my
good.
God. And then the psychology was for it. They rode that shit for the whole match. And the commentators made it logical to why that happened. Like, I've never seen that spot before. That was super creative. Like,
So,
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Sorry. So I want to touch on that because yes, that actually brings me back to a previous match where I actually messaged Beef, and not that I was disappointed by the women's match, but one of the things that lost it for me in the psychology was what the fuck happened to the handcuffs on Raquel Gonzalez's wrist? How they just magically come off? She's so strong that she ripped them off. Like there was no rhyme or reason for that. That was a little thing that bugged me about that, but the psychology of that with the rope biting, that was perfect because like his arms and legs were tied up. Well, I gotta fucking get to the rope somehow. What am I gonna do? I gotta bike the rope. And then it's just the same thing. It's like, okay, you broke my jaw before. I'm gonna fucking, I'm gonna go for yours. I'm gonna try to break your jaw because you want to be dumb enough to bite the ropes. Boom. And like you said, they rode that the whole match. The best thing I could say, Beef, like why maybe you would have been disappointed. It's like if you go out to a restaurant and you love a medium rare steak and you get medium rare all the time, you go to the same steak joint, they never fuck up your order or anything like that. But then this next time you go there, instead of medium rare, it's a little bit more closer to medium. It's still good, but it's not quite what you expected or whatever. It's not what you're used to. Maybe that's why. But I agree with Poot that it doesn't suit Balor's character because like he's kind of like he's kind of a tweener right now. And again, like when you're a bad guy, like your move repertoire, like you need to change things up. Especially if you go from like, especially if you do like a big, fucking sudden face to heel turn there. And this is not patronizing you at all, just pointing out in general, like I'm sure we've all noticed anytime you see somebody go from face to heel, they change up their moveset, they get more aggressive, they get less flashy with their moves. Unless they're trying to be like, the only time they do showy stuff is like if they're going to be a pompous dick, like Hal Orton does. Well, the posing on the ropes or whatever. Or you pander to the crowd, but you pander to draw the heat. You don't pander so they pop for your move or anything like that. So in the case of Balor with his character, you're not going to see as much, big spot stuff. And I mean, like I said, I was thoroughly entertained by the match. I thought it was good. I was a little surprised when Kyle O'Reilly ended up tapping out, just because it felt like it came on very, very suddenly. Like it wasn't one of those like, oh, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? Like how the announcers will build it up, and then the person finally taps. Like it was just kind of like, oh shit, it ended. Okay, like I did. It grabbed me by surprise.
That lends credence to Poot's point about it being a much more like an MMA style match. So listen, I'm not dragging the match. I'm saying my expectation was that it would be the best on the card, and I think that it was probably the third best match of NXT New Year's Evil.
Yeah.
I had Cross versus Priest as number one, and Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Gonzalez a surprising number two. And you know what? I really liked Metalik versus
Escobar.
Oh, Escobar. Thank you. I keep saying, Phantasmo. I think that was a really good match too. I think the issue here, and I think where they probably went with it and why it didn't come off, it didn't pop for me. And here's why. They knew that they would be going head to head with Kenny versus Phoenix. And they're like, all right, we can't do that. Like we can, but we're not going to. We're going, that's fucking filet mignon. We're gonna give them a fucking porterhouse, That's a bad example, That's a ribeye. We're gonna give them a porterhouse. Plus, both of those guys, I get the feeling, had probably watched Wrestle Kingdom the first 2 days too, and knew how many fucking great matches there were on that card. So whenever you are in that situation, they knew they had to do something different. I don't know. It nothing jumped off the page at me. And honestly, it may have been a little bit of wrestling hangover, because that was, I watched Wrestle Kingdom Part 2 today. But prior to that, that was the last bit of wrestling that I watched. So I watched Wrestle Kingdom Part 1, AEW, and then NXT. So, I mean, it could be like, man, I've seen so much good wrestling this week. Now I'm going to see Balor versus O'Reilly and, fizzle. And I 100% say it could just be me. But that notwithstanding, like last night, NXT was a great card, top to bottom. I have the only thing that I'm disappointed with is the fact that they moved the Fight Pit match. And reportedly, the injury with Thatcher is a worked injury, meaning that it's not legit, that they just didn't, that they wanted to move it. And
maybe you know what? Hold on. Maybe the reason why they did that is because of they knew what they were going to do with Kyle O'Reilly and whatchamacallit,
Balor,
yeah.
that's a good call.
Here's the only thing, I agree, NXT overall was a fantastic show. The only thing that confused me, even from the word go, before I saw any matches or anything like that, when they announced that Dexter Lumis was hosting, which I love Dexter Lumis, but I'm like, how are you going to have him host when the man doesn't fucking talk at all? And then they had him on commentary and he didn't talk, which I know lends more credence to like build the mystique around him and stuff like that. But like, I don't know. It was just weird. It's like, we're going to have a mute host the show. Hooray. Like,
well, I mean, the build up, and I don't know how much NXT you watched prior to this. Like he was the announcements for the matches were coming as like he was doing his artwork.
Oh yeah,
and,
no,
like,
I saw
like
those.
that was
Yeah.
kind of the gimmick. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm glad they found a spot for him.
Yeah.
Because right now he's not doing much.
Oh, that's
so,
right.
Like,
Because didn't Cameron Grimes get injured?
Yep, he's out.
Damn, that's
like
right.
6 months or something.
That bums
So, like,
me the fuck out.
You know,
To the moon.
I'm glad that they found a spot for him to keep him relevant. You know,
Yeah.
I have no problem with it.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, NXT was awesome. AEW solid show, top to bottom. It's. I was watching that women's match. It's just such a world of difference seeing Abaddon with done in all her gory makeup and everything to the picture that Poot shared before, and I'm just like, wow, huge fucking difference.
So if we're jumping over to AEW, I gotta say I really like that match.
It was good. It was good.
It was odd. I think that there were a lot of weird booking places, but again, like that's what AEW gives you. They give you, they give you a
damn it, Poots.
a fucking like a sampler platter. Like they give you, okay, you don't like this kind of pie, have this kind of pie. You don't like this kind of pie, here's some strudel. Like, so I mean,
wait, did you say strudel?
You heard me. So like, like the metaphysical stuff like this is fine. Like her, and I like that they like kind of worked to hide some of that stuff, like under the ring, and like she came back out and her mouth was gushing with blood, and she came out with a big spot in her neck that was big and bloody. Like I thought that was great storytelling, and AEW constantly gets dumped on for the women's division, despite having Sheeta, who's really great, Baker, who's really fucking great. They don't honestly have a ton else. Now they're working on it. But obviously, like we've been talking about, if they get some help from Impact, that could be beneficial. But I mean, for what their women's division is, I really enjoyed it. And I mean, AEW came out fucking guns blazing last night too. Snoop Dogg splash notwithstanding.
Oh God, yeah, that was that was kind of atrocious.
That was
but,
it.
What do you expect from a celebrity cameo spot? What else do you expect?
Who knew that Snoop Dogg was a Make-A-Wish kid?
I
look, that was in bad taste, but Snoop Dogg standing there, I couldn't help but laugh when Snoop Dogg was standing there and he kept putting the thing over his mouth like a coach.
Yeah, he was basically pulling the Arn Anderson, like instead of having Anderson in his corner, because Arn Anderson does that with Cody. Arn Anderson comes out like a football coach and holds the thing, So like the Snoop Dogg doing it, I thought that was a really brilliant aspect. I think my favorite part of the Snoop Dogg splash, quote unquote splash, was on Twitter. Sasha Banks tweeted a video of it, and she says, "Cuz we got fam, we got to work on that." Like having fun with it, So
I'd say my favorite part of it was Jericho. It's like, what's he doing? He's 9 feet tall, and he weighs, and he's skinny as a string bean.
That like I did love the one complaint I will have, and I want to throw this in there since we're on the Snoop Dogg thing. The whole time, Jericho is putting down Cody and Snoop Dogg and putting them down and putting them down and putting them down. Snoop Dogg goes over to the commentators table And Jericho, big grin on his face, big hug. You know, it's like, look, I understand kayfabe's dead, and they are friends, and we all know they're friends, and we all know that. But, like, come on, if you're going to run him down the entire thing, when he comes around, like, give him a lackadaisical handshake or be like, yeah, okay, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Did
Like,
you hear
come
what he
on.
said immediately after that?
Oh,
As
yeah.
soon as he puts the headset
I
back
still
on,
hate that guy. I still hate that guy. Yeah,
I still
okay,
hate that guy.
That's fair. That's fair.
And the other thing that I can't stand, and this is not just exclusive to Snoop Dogg showing up on AEW, but this is in general. Can we stop trying to do fucking mashup songs between different people's fucking music? It doesn't work 99% of the time. Just stop it, please. I hate that.
At this point, I would consider Cody's theme iconic, and I don't like the matchup at all, or the mashup at all. I'm hoping it was just a one-night thing. I'm hoping people on Twitter kind of poop on it, and he's like, okay, we'll go back to the other one.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that he only I'm sure they only did it for that, which I was surprised because we didn't get the the 5-minute long
I love that part.
Like,
I actually really dug the fact that they cut out that big long stupid fucking intro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was okay with that part, but then when there's like a noticeable hard cut and no fucking transition from, you know, Cody's music, which is awesome, to fucking I can't hear the lyrics of Snoop Dogg's rap because it's just bass heavy. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Or it's the same thing. Like, and WWE has been notorious for doing it too. Like, whenever who was it? Whenever Asuka and Kairi Sane were tagging there for a while, and they went from like Asuka's music into Kairi Sane's like pirate yo ho thing. I'm like, it doesn't fucking work. Do you people?
It does. Sometimes those mashups do work.
That's what I'm saying. 99% of the time, I don't like whenever people get the mashup fucking treatment for just because they're a tag team or something. It's like, just come up with a new theme. Like, you have a fucking team. You have people that have been doing this shit in the industry for how long? You have connections to other people in the music industry. I mean, Sasha has connections to Snoop Dogg. She changed her music. That's fine. I'm good with that. But like, just fucking make it work. I hate the mashups. Anyways.
I mean, it can be done, but it's tough. I think one of my favorites, and this will probably pop Ransom if he can hear us, is back in the day, back in like one of my favorite eras of wrestling, whenever Rene Dupree and Kenzo Suzuki had their mashup of music.
Yes.
Like that was a great mashup. So I mean, I think Jericho with Jericho and Big Show had a really good.
Yeah,
Jericho wasn't too bad. I'll give you that. And obviously, Rated RKO was good.
Yeah, and exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was definitely a fan of Rated RKO. But I don't think you could do any mashup wrong with freaking Law Resistance music.
And
that might be my favorite entrance music of all time. I
figured that'd make you pop. I figured that'd bring you out.
Say, Poot. I got one more good one.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I know it's going to be an unpopular opinion, and it's kind of part and parcel of what we're talking about, but I don't know why I was a sucker for the way the bar came out. I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it. Okay. I thought it was cool.
That was good. That
I like the bar.
That one worked for me. I'll tell you another one and it kind of ties in WWE back to AEW here. It surprisingly, whenever right before his departure from WWE, Stardust and Goldust is a little mashup. That actually kind of worked. That one I was okay with. But getting back to AEW and Cody aside, can we talk about we know the Kenny match was awesome and everything like that. Can we talk about the shit afterwards? Holy fuck balls.
So I don't want to bury the lead. I honestly think so. Right now, I am thinking of, and it's fucking January 7th. I get that the year is a fucking week old, but I literally think that the match of the year probably occurred in these 7 days between Kenny and Phoenix and a couple of the New Japan matches that happened in Wrestle Kingdom. It's going to take a lot to unseat those.
Ransom, I need a favor from you.
Uh-huh.
I need you to mark this down as Beef calling this match of the year, and then in about another 4 months, let's call him out on it. Whatever he says the next match of the year happened.
Not even 4 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. All right. No, but but go on. It was an awesome match. It really was.
I like obviously Kenny was winning. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But I mean, they made it believable that Ray Phoenix could have had the victory at any time. But yes, and here's why I think it's probably not going to be in match of the year contention is because of what followed afterward. We're finally starting to see the fruit being bore of the Impact and AEW connection with the too sweet in the middle of the ring. I don't know if WWE has given that up. I don't know if AEW is like, fuck it, we're doing it. But they fucking did it.
They fucking did it.
I said they were.
They fucking did it.
To be fair, I said there were 3 contenders for match of the year. You fuckheads.
Okay, well, technicalities. I heard it was match of the year. Anyway, no, that's the thing is that it kind of reiterates what Tom has said before. He said AEW is doing everything right. They're doing everything right. He said that in our in a voice message on our private chat, but it's so true. They are doing everything right. And
I think Ransom also said that on last week's episode. I can't be sure though.
Ransom also said that
did.
on last week. Wait, hold on. I need a redaction. Ransom said that on last week's episode, and he was accurate and smart and handsome and fit and well-read.
Wait.
And
overselling.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're fucking Shawn Michaels selling this against the Hogan match.
I'm sorry.
Easy.
I mean, frig off Ransom. By the way, subscribe to Frig Off Ransom.
There you go, free plug.
I love the Big Hoss matchup. By the way, the
Big
Wardlow
Hoss man
versus,
match.
Yeah, Big Hoss man.
The Big Hoss.
The Wardlow versus Jake Hager match.
It was good.
So I love their shtick from the beginning. Whenever MJF joined the Inner Circle, and they would just stand looking 9 feet apart and just sit there and casually stare at each other the whole fucking time. Love it. And I thought that this was a great, quote unquote blow off match for the two of them. And I honestly think I think you said that, Tom, that 2021 could be the year that we start to see a big Wardlow push.
I think so.
I would agree.
I think so. If like I mentioned in the chat, in 2021, I think it'd be a little soon to shoot him straight to the moon. And with everything that's going on, I'm sure they're going to have a big program set out for Kenny Omega. So if we see a push for Wardlow, I could see him. I could see Brian Cage getting the TNT title, and I could see by the end of 2021 Wardlow, making a run for that. But if you don't see Wardlow get at the very least, the TNT title push here in 2021, I think 2022 you're going to see a big push for him, assuming that he sticks around. I don't see why. I haven't heard, or I wouldn't have been led to believe that he's going to go anywhere else right now. Obviously, I don't know what his contract situation is. I mean, he hasn't been there all that long, but I have to think that he's. I'm sure he's going to put faith in. Faith in AEW here. So
interesting point.
Yeah.
There has not been yet and understandably they're still in their infancy, but whenever the first big I'm leaving AEW for whatever company, whether it be New Japan, going to Impact, going to the Indies, retiring, or going to the going back to WWE or going to WWE for the first time, that's going to be a big deal. The first big leave, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just spitballing. I don't want big long discussion on this. Of the roster that exists right now, who would be the one to do it?
Ooh.
MJF.
I don't know.
He now understandably things change, and like you said, money talks. However, I feel like MJF made very declarative statements about his intent with AEW and his intent on his career path early on in the AEW cycle. I personally think that it's either going to be the Murder Hawk or Swolverine.
Murder Hawk won't go back. Lance Archer will not go back to WWE.
That's fair.
When was he there in the first place?
When he was Vance Archer.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was his name. Little known fucking SmackDown talent, little used SmackDown talent. He basically had to go to New Japan to fix himself. Same as Beretta, actually.
Yep.
Had to go to New Japan to reinvent themselves, and then suddenly, I know you said you don't want a big fucking thing, but let's say fucking 5 years from now, I'm betting MJF has at least at the top of the card 3 times in AEW by that point, meaning he's a 3-time champion. And at that point, like, what else do you do? So let's assume that Vince's shelf life has expired by that point, and he's fucking tossed out like the milk. I don't care if he's dead. I don't care if the fucking, the suits and Titan Towers are like, you're done, whatever. Fucking Triple H makes a pitch to Max 5 years from now, says, hey, man, you've done everything you could do for that company, and God bless you, you brought them up and you put them on your back. Let me put you in WrestleMania main event. Let you beat MJF on WWE TV.
I think even with Vince gone, I don't think that MJF could go full MJF in WWE.
That's the only reason why I would say I wouldn't see MJF doing that. It's just because let me put it to you this way. Beef, I'll give you that. If Vince is gone by then, with Vince being out of the picture, maybe MJF would be a possibility in 5 years from now or whatever. How many at the very least 5 years from now? Because I'm sure, number one, AEW's probably got it locked up for a little while as it is, and two, so many of the wrestlers in AEW that haven't even come from WWE have said how they enjoy how they're allowed to just go out there and do their thing. So I don't know. I don't know that I could really see anybody jumping to WWE while Vince is still there, because they're going to be there. The first thing they're going to be like is, well, why am I going to go somewhere where I'm going to be stifled creatively? And I'm sure Tony Khan is paying his company well. I'm sure they're not making Jericho and fucking Young Bucks money or whatever, but I mean, obviously, like, they're getting paid reasonably well, I'm sure, because with Cody being there as an EVP coming from WWE, one of the first things he said whenever they were starting AEW is, we want to make sure that wrestlers are getting paid what they should get paid. And I've even seen stuff where I can't remember who it was, but somebody, a wrestler, I can't remember who it was, that said about, like, during COVID, they're being threatened with eviction, and basically, like, Cody offered to pay their rent for them and stuff, like, I feel like really AEW is really going to foster and, really taking care of their talent and really letting their talent get over on their own and stuff. So until Vince is gone, I don't know that I see anybody making a jump over to WWE. What do you think, Ransom?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to echo that sentiment there. I think I can't speak on whether or not they'll go somewhere else, whether they go, if they decide to go to New Japan or Impact or Ring of Honor or wherever. I have no thoughts on that. But as far as WWE goes, I think there are enough people in AEW now that can really tell enough horror stories. Now, I'm sure that there are good things that they can say, of course, but I think they'll speak the truth to their friends on the roster and say, like, let's just use as an example, MJF says it and goes, you know what, I'm considering a jump to WWE. They offered me some money. I feel like I've done what I needed to do here. If Vince is still in charge, I think there are enough people that would tell open and honest truths about what life is like in the WWE. Your stuff is scripted. Look at what happens to NXT guys who are on fire, then go up to the main roster and struggle to keep their head above water. I think there are enough of them that can tell accurate horror stories to go, I'm not telling you not to go, I'm just telling you what to expect. Maybe once Vince is gone, if there are enough people who are still friends in AEW and WWE, if Triple H makes that change, and those bad things that Vince McMahon likes to do, because he's Vince McMahon and he jerks more knees than we do, if that goes away and there's enough testimony to it, like, hey, Triple H is in charge now, things have really changed over here, people are happier, guys are getting opportunities that they didn't get under Vince, things are starting to look up. If that happens, maybe, if, like Beef said, maybe if you do everything in AEW and you've never made it to the mountain that is WrestleMania main event, maybe you go over there just to be able to say, hey, guess what I did? Main event at WrestleMania. But I'm fairly confident that unless AEW does somebody real dirty, I don't see anybody on the AEW roster making the jump to WWE when Vince is still in charge. There are enough people that can talk them off that ledge, not with fake news, quote unquote, but with legit truths about what it's like in WWE as far as how you're expected to work, how your promos go, and look, they might promise you the moon, but that might be for a month. And then guess what? You're floating out in space like you just got ejected from the Skeld.
I like that tie-in. That's a good analogy, and I agree with you. Like that, the only time I would see anybody making a jump, regardless if Vince was there or not, but again, I find it highly unlikely that anybody would while Vince is still there, is if you've, I've accomplished this, I've reached the pinnacle, now what? Because you have to, like, that's look at Jericho, the exact reason, like, he could have stayed in WWE and done the same shtick and did whatever over there and dragged the list out into the dirt whenever and fucking beating that horse to death, or he could take a chance on this new on a new company, and I don't see how they could have you could have gotten something like the mimosa match or whatever in WWE. You know what I mean? Like, now granted, I mean, it is gimmicky and we all know WWE does like their gimmicks and stuff, but I'm just saying, like, that seems like something where I see that idea being brought to Vince and he goes, oh, I don't get it. But like, I see something like that being brought to, to Tony Khan and whoever else. And they're just like, all right, yeah, let's give it a shot. Like it just, again, letting the wrestlers, get themselves over and not have to be, Vince's brainchild that got over, letting the wrestlers themselves get over. And we've stated before, that's the biggest problem with WWE is once somebody gets over organically, like, no, we got to cap that because they can't be bigger than the business. They can't be bigger than the WWE universe.
Well, and that's the problem with putting, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, and this might be a knee-jerk statement, but putting a brand above the actual people who make the brand. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the mission statement of AEW is true. They almost every wrestler, if not feels like a big deal, they feel important. Very rarely, whenever I watch AEW, do I see a wrestler that I feel like is not important in some way. You know what I mean? When you watch like WWE's product, it feels like these three guys are important to what the story we're telling you, but everyone else on the roster, they're dumb. You don't need to worry about them. It's nothing. And then, then they'll go, okay, let's trade those three guys out for three other guys, or we'll trade one guy out of that and they'll be in there for a cup of coffee. Okay, let's pull them out. Oh, let's bring people from NXT. It's too much chaos. It's too much unfocused. Like, It's almost like having a toddler that drank a 3-liter of Coca-Cola booking your show. You know what I mean? Like, no.
And let's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And that was my point. AEW feels more focused, and they have, through their win-loss system and through having AEW Dark and a potential another show that might be coming, these wrestlers all feel like they're in a story somewhere, even if they're in their own little bubble. And it's like, oh, they got to work out of that deficit of win-losses, or, oh, they're having a problem backstage with someone, or, oh, they're really being scrappy and trying to do whatever. Like, they feel like they're in a story, even when they're not in a main event story. And I think that's important, and that's something WWE is sorely lacking. Ransom, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, you're good. You're good. I thought you were done. That's my fault. My bad. But I like one of the things, I think you hit the nail on the head. You said at the beginning there, in AEW, it feels like it's more about the wrestlers, and in WWE, it feels like it's more about the brand. And again, it's sorry, it's shit on Vince McMahon hour. But I believe that's Vince McMahon's mission statement. This is the WWE universe. This is my universe. Nobody is bigger than me. Nobody is bigger than my universe. That's even what's God. Most important. Yeah, right? That's what's most important here is my universe. I built literally. This.
Yeah, exactly.
I built this, and it will flourish because it's my universe. I feel like AEW focuses more on the talent that says, look, the talent makes us as good as we are. We are only as good as our talent can be. So if we foster our talent and we build up the talent roster right and we treat them right, in return, they will do what is best for us. They'll work hard for us, and they'll make our product something that people want to watch. Whereas Vince McMahon's thought, and again, don't know the man, I'm speculating, but I feel like Vince McMahon's thought is, I don't need any of you. You're all expendable. If you legit had all your talent walk to the ring on a freaking Thursday night and go, look, Vince, we're very upset. We don't agree with what's happening, and we are ready to leave en masse. Vince McMahon's response would be, fuck ya. You're all fired. He'd have a brand new roster by freaking Friday for SmackDown, and he wouldn't care word one about it because the WWE universe is bigger than any talent that's there. Again, speculation, but I feel like that's a big difference between those two companies. AEW knows their talent makes them what they are. Vince McMahon knows that the WWE universe is bigger than the talent. The WWE universe will succeed and survive regardless of what talent decides to leave.
Just like CM Punk said, he's like, it's not sour grapes. I know I'm just a cog in the wheel, and once I come out, the machine's gonna keep on fucking going.
Yep.
That's exactly the attitude I feel like probably a lot of people have.
So,
and
when really quick, Beef, I'm sorry. When Punk, and to reiterate Tom's point, when Punk left, we all were like, what are they going to do? Punk was such a big draw. And like you said, the wheel just kept on spinning. That's all I wanted to say.
So, and we suck a lot of AEW cock on this show. Like, I feel like it's a weekly thing where we talk about this. I want to get into something different. I want to talk about the end of the show because we got way off topic there. I want to talk about the Bullet Club reunion, and they can't call it the Bullet Club because that's owned by New Japan. But I want to talk about the Good Brothers and Kenny and quote unquote reluctantly the Young Bucks.
I was about to say reluctantly the Bucks. Yeah.
Now they did it. They did a promo shoot in the back afterwards, and everybody was all smiles. So who knows? But so we I'm organizing my thoughts here. So we often shat on Impact because of them trying to bring back the NWO time and time and time again. Even WWE brought back the NWO, and then they made it the fake NWO. Let's be real here. I love the Bullet Club, and I've loved pretty much every incarnation of the Bullet Club, from fucking Fergal and Carl and Bad Luck Fale to what we have now, which is Evil and Jay White and the Tongans. Like, I love the Bullet Club. But are we seeing an issue with every promotion really trying to capitalize on it? From the club with AJ and the Good Brothers to Balor Club, just the name alone, and now we see this faction, proto faction, if you will, between Impact and AEW. In your minds, is it an issue that AEW is trying to use something that wasn't their intellectual creation, or are we getting a little bit of a, glimpse into the future?
I'm thinking glimpse into the future, because I would like to think that, as much of a businessman that Tony Khan is, I don't think that he would, and especially with them being, still with AEW in general being a newer company, I don't think you're gonna, I don't think you're gonna poke the bear and just say, "Fuck it, we're gonna do it anyways," even if it gets us in trouble. That's not a good business move. So I would like to think that, given AEW has, let some of their guys like Jericho and Moxley go over and do business in New Japan and continue doing stuff over there, and assuming that they're gonna have a little bit of a working relationship with New Japan, or we're hoping that they will, and obviously they have some sort of working relationship right now with Impact. I would like to think that we're seeing a glimpse into the future. It's just saying, hey, we don't have to call it the Bullet Club, but let's capitalize on, let's do this. That everybody knows the hand signal. You can call it whatever iteration of whatever faction you want to, but everybody knows what the hand signal is. Every knowledgeable wrestling fan, I should say, maybe not the casual fan, but I would say even the casual fan might even know. Yeah, even the casual fan might know what the Bullet Club is, because you see the shit. Fuck, I got my Bullet Club shirt from Hot Topic and shit. So I mean, why wouldn't a casual fan know that? What it is at the very least from seeing the merchandise there. So yeah, I think glimpse into the future.
Quick, just to kind of, this is really something really awesome I saw on Twitter. This is from last night. Alex Shelley, who is involved in the Kenny Omega feud over in Impact, he's part of the Motor City Machine Guns, tweeted out, "Legitimately, as someone who has had their ass handed to them by the Bullet Club since the beginning, I can say that these three, meaning Omega and the Good Brothers, are like my fifth most feared rendition of the group. There's no Tongans, man." At which point, Tama Tonga, which is Haku's son, retweeted. He's also one of the founding members of the Bullet Club. At this point, it's only Bullet Club when there are Tongans in it. Anything else is just guys that wish they were back in the Bullet Club. I gotta believe.
Burn!
So, and this is me absolutely just having an absolute fantasy hard-on. But, like, I see Kenny Omega as AEW champion. I see Kota Ibushi as IWGP heavyweight champion. I gotta see Wrestle Kingdom 16, January 4th, 2022. I gotta see Kenny Omega versus Kota Ibushi, title for title. And if I don't, I'm very sad.
That's a pretty big fantasy boner there.
It is. But I mean, I get the feeling that that's where things may be headed. What do you think, Poot?
I feel like it's too hard to tell right now. I know that sounds like a bullshitty, kind of like wish-washy, mishmashy answer, whatever you will say, I'll answer. But like, I feel like we need to see how things are going to flesh out. It could go one of two ways. Either this could be something that's kind of a flash in the pan, kind of a nod to the past, and then everyone moves on. Or this could grow because now it's, AEW Cross Impact. Then all of a sudden it's, AEW Cross NJPW. We could see a big dumb war between all of the bigger wrestling promotions, and they're inside, they're at the party, they're having fun, they're laughing, joking, talking, having a good time, playing games, eating food, having bevs. It's great. And then WWE is standing on the outside in the rain in the window with one hand on the window going, and then it fades to black and white, and you hear, all around me are familiar faces, worn out, and then they have a heart attack and die.
I tell you what, I'd absolutely love to see. I would love to see these 5 face off with the Tongans and Jay White and Evil and Kenta, and at the end of it, they all do the 2 sweet in the middle of the ring, and fucking Japan's popping hard, and from the fucking crowd descends fucking Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns and Randy Orton, and they just start fucking pulling people off. Man, I'm telling you, I in my heart of hearts, 100% believe that Triple H gets it. And if he thinks that if something is, and excuse the phrasing, best for business, I think he'd be all over it.
But again, he has a pretty big roadblock in his way.
The issue is the timetable on McMahon. Listen, the dude is pushing 80. I'm not wishing for anything bad, okay?
Yeah, you are.
I know.
Don't lie.
I know that we joke about Vince McMahon, about hating it and all that, but at the end of the day, he's just another dude, okay? But at the end of the day, he's a fucking 80-year-old dude. He's a fucking what are they? Octogenarian. He is fucking. Most people are in homes at this point. Vince McMahon's never going to be in a home. I would love to see that as a fucking sitcom, but he'll never be in a fucking home. At some point, the board of directors is going to go, you know what? Maybe ratings are tanking because we have an 80-year-old man who, God will love him, he's built the fucking business from the ground up, but doesn't get it anymore. And for the sake of our shareholders, we have to move on. Again, I think that if Triple H sees a big enough carrot, if he sees a big enough slice of cheese, he'll jump at it. And I think if you're talking about a cross-promotion deal between the biggest wrestling in Japan and the 2 biggest wrestling companies in America, assuming that AEW continues their upward trajectory, I don't see why that wouldn't be a good situation for all parties involved.
I mean, it's going to take it. It takes negotiating, and it takes a willingness for people to put faith in one another and not be stubborn assholes about it. I mean,
egos have to go out the door. Everybody has to set aside their ego, and I think that would probably be the biggest problem that Hunter would have, because Triple H, he fucking knows the business. When he was fucking wrestling, he knew the business. You talk about match psychology. Triple H fucking ate and slept and shit out match psychology.
Oh yeah.
But the problem is he knows that he knows the business. And that, I think, would be his biggest problem, is setting aside that massive ego to work with Tony, to work with oh gosh, why can't I not remember the New Japan's Gato, I guess, is running it. I that would be the stumbling block. Assuming that Vince is out of the picture, which again, sooner than later he's gonna be.
Speaking of egos, we all have some pretty big heads here, because nobody, and by nobody I mean basically the Maniac, has been able to stump the champs yet. Do we have a question fucking lock, loaded, and ready to go, Beef?
We do, in fact.
Oh,
now this includes some fuckery. So, Maniac said,
Fuckery.
Let me get to my messages here. He direct messaged me, and he said something similar in our chat, but I just want to make sure I'm reading it verbatim from him. May not have been clear on my recent Stump the Champs. I need the correct number and who. And he made sure to put in there, don't cheat. Pat, and yes, I'm going to call you Pat. I'm going to break kayfabe and call you Pat. We've never cheated. We don't cheat, regardless of what Ransom wants to say about Poot. I like to think better of Poot.
Thank you.
But
Thank you, Beef.
Yes. So, assuming that this is like last week's, if there are like 3 right answers, he wants those 3 right answers. No more, no less. So I'm guessing he's probably not going to tell us the target number. We just have to get there on our own.
All right.
So the question is, double champions are always fun to watch. So tell me who the Eurocontinental champions were. You have to get the exact number. If there were 4 and you guess 5, even if you name the 4, you lose. So he's not asking for. Okay, no, he is asking for the who. Eurocontinental champion. Kurt Angle.
That was,
fucking certain.
that was going to be the one I was going to say. That was
Okay.
He walked into WrestleMania 16 as Eurocontinental champion. And then the belts were split after that. I don't know if they came back around together again.
So okay, he wants us to name who they were.
Yes, and to say we can only name those people. So if we say Edge and Randy Orton and fucking Abby the Butcher, and it was only Edge and Randy Orton, we would lose even though we got them correct. Honestly, I don't remember there being more than Kurt Angle.
D'Lo Brown was the first one, I think.
Eurocontinental to hold both belts?
I think so. I think D'Lo Brown was the first one back in the Nation days. Because I think as a member of the Nation, he held the European title, and then he beat somebody for the Intercontinental title. I don't know how long that lasted, but I believe he was the first one.
I do not believe you're wrong about that. I would agree. Fuck.
Well, we know Kurt Angle for sure, but here's the thing. So you mentioned let's stick on this line of thought for a second. You mentioned Kurt Angle, and then after that, the belts were split.
When did they unify them? Because I remember they unified them.
They were never a package deal. There were very few matches that were for, if any, except for the one that I'm thinking of in WrestleMania 16. There were very few matches for both titles. It's not like what they're doing in New Japan, where they're basically like any title match for the IWGP title is also for the IWGP Intercontinental title. That's not the case with this. I think that both titles were defended separately. So, for example, on WrestleMania 16, Angle lost the belts individually to Benoit and Jericho, respectively.
Right, because I know this was a question before about the Eurocontinental. So,
however, Poot's right. They did unify.
They unified it
into what?
It was just the Intercontinental belt.
RVD, right? Because that was a hot tag trivia question. Who was the I'm fairly fucking certain
he beat
that
Jeff
RVD
Hardy.
Was the one.
He beat Jeff Hardy.
I'm fairly fucking certain that RVD was one.
But does that count as because they got unified? Does that count as a Eurocontinental champion, or is that's just the new Intercontinental champion?
Fuck, that's gray area.
Okay, so right now we have 2. We have that are on the table. We have D'Lo and we have Kurt Angle
for sure.
Now
Angle. Yeah, he's the definite.
After Angle.
What year remember was WrestleMania 16. That's
2000.
Okay.
I can't remember another time that happened after Angle, because Angle was the really big keynote one.
Right. Because he would wear them like one on top of another. Right.
So Angle would have had to have lost the belts.
He did. He lost them separately, like Beef said.
Yep. Benoit on the first fall and Jericho on the second fall. Yep.
Okay, well then so we could say after that there were no more. Let's go back. D'Lo.
Well, again, we need to decide about RVD.
Back quite yet, yeah.
Well, no, I was trying to run backwards the way we did with the brackets.
Let's talk about this RVD thing though real quick.
All right.
Yeah.
Because RVD was the Intercontinental Champion, and he faced Jeff Hardy in a ladder match, and Jeff Hardy was the European Champion. And who was it? RVD. RVD won that match, becoming both. But at that point, it was decided that the European title was going to go bye-bye, and it was just going to be the Intercontinental title. So, regardless of Maniac's penned answer, I feel like we have to count that because at the end of that match, regardless of what happened after,
he had two belts.
At the end of that match, he held both belts.
Wait, who did?
RVD.
He had both the Intercontinental title and the European belts in his hand after that match.
Wasn't that match for a true unification of the belts though? Whoever won, it was like they are the sole champion. I thought that was exactly, but I don't think that constitutes a Eurocontinental. I think that's because it was a unification.
I am making a declarative statement. Do what you will with it, but I'm going to say this. I am all for saying RVD is a double champion because he did hold both belts. If Maniac does not include that, I say we call bullshit because that's a gray area. And either way, if we don't say it and he says it, we're boned. If we do say it and he doesn't say it, we're boned. So now, and I mean, if we get something else wrong, okay, that's fine. We lose. But if the RVD, so whether we say it, whether we don't, if we don't say it and he includes it, I say that we don't worry about it. If we do say it and he doesn't include it, again, I say we don't worry about it because that's gray area and that's bullshit gray area.
You're getting handshaky antsy. I understand. I get it. But the thing is, Maniac clearly does. Who is making an erector set in the background?
That's not me.
But the thing is, this question, the way he has it. Number one, let me go back and Inspector Clouseau this, okay? So Maniac is asking this question, and he's being incredibly specific, right? So right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Maniac is being incredibly specific. So there has to be some kind of fuckery happening, right?
Right.
Now, I think because that's a gray area, let's set the RVD thing off to the side, okay? Let's set that aside. And
for now.
And like Beef said, if he does include it, it's bullshit. If he doesn't include it, then it is what it is. Because that was a match. Give me a second, Tom. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm on a line here.
Go ahead.
If he does include it, that was a unification match because it brought it all together and it was just represented as the Intercontinental belt. So that's my thought on it. So there's we're on this different sides of the fence, but we have the same idea here, Beef. You know what I mean? We're on the same wavelength. So let's think about this because logically, looking at the timeline, the gap where there could be another one is between D'Lo and Angle. Because after Angle, there was nothing. Before D'Lo, there was nothing. So it's D'Lo to Angle. Somewhere in the middle, there could be another. Because this is something that it wasn't even like a regular thing that people held both belts. Very rarely do people hold both belts, right? So let's think in the middle. And that's why I said let's start at D'Lo. How did D'Lo lose the belts?
No idea.
I was gonna say I'm gonna have to defer to Ransom on that one because Ransom was the one that brought up D'Lo.
Oh boy. Look, I really am sorry, Maniac. Here's my thing. You need to start asking questions that are post ruthless aggression era. Because that's where my fandom goes from hardcore WWE wrestling fan to occasional. Because that's when life took off for me. So the nitty gritty, the super duper detailed, I'm not good with stuff after that. This, however, happened in the Attitude Era. It's well documented that is my favorite era of wrestling. Say what you will about it, it's my favorite. So, I'm going to do it.
Do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
D'Lo Brown lost both belts. Let me make sure I'm thinking of this correctly. D'Lo Brown lost because he was the double champ at the time.
Uh-huh.
He lost both belts in one pay-per-view, in one match, to Jeff Jarrett.
Really?
Wow.
Jeff Jarrett beat D'Lo Brown.
Old Slapnuts himself, huh?
Yeah, and if my memory is not incorrect or inaccurate, I believe that, thinking of this now, I don't know who was what champion, but I think D'Lo beat Jeff Jarrett for one of those belts to become the first Eurocontinental title. D'Lo already had one of them. I don't remember which belt D'Lo had.
I think the European, and I think he beat Jarrett for the Intercontinental.
Probably.
So, yeah, but we don't have to get that right, though, right?
Correct.
No.
We don't have to
Okay.
get that right. We just have
So,
to.
yeah, thinking back, I don't know what belt D'Lo had, but I'm fairly certain he beat Jarrett in a singles match for the other belt. Pardon me. He was a Eurocontinental champion. And then I don't know how long after this transpired, but I believe D'Lo Brown lost both belts in one match to Jeff Jarrett, making Jeff Jarrett the second Eurocontinental title. Now, a lot transpired, I believe, between Jarrett having those belts and Angle having those belts. I don't believe either one of those two are directly involved with each other to get from Jarrett to Angle. But as far as the three that we know of goes, D'Lo was the first, Jarrett was the second, Angle was the third, arguably the last. But I will put an asterisk on this. Freaking RVD, whether the group agrees or not, is fine, and I defer to the consensus here. But my asterisk is, at the end of that night, RVD held both belts above his head. Whether he was considered a Eurocontinental champion or not, I don't know, because I don't know the stipulation going into that match, whether or not it was for the unification to make both belts one and that one belt being the Intercontinental title, or if that was decided later. But I know at the end of that night, RVD held both those belts above his head.
All right. So
listen, here's the thing: we're throwing out Jeff. We're throwing out RVD.
For now.
No. Period. That is too much of a gray area.
Okay, boss.
Because listen, that's too much of a gray area, and we always say with these Stump the Champs questions, you have to be in the black and the white. Don't give us fucking tournaments and say name all 16 competitors and every single match in it. No fucking gray area. All right, and Pat made it. The Midcard Maniac made it very clear how specific this was.
Did you almost call him Pat the Maniac?
Oh, his name is Pat. That's why I addressed him as Pat.
The Pat-niac.
I stopped and I referred to him as his kayfabe name. So that's my take. I say we throw out RVD, right or wrong, whether he has it listed, whether we don't. We're going over the point that we're mentioning him, and we're just it's fuckery whether it is or not. So
can I throw in something there? Can I throw in something just because you guys have pretty much been the brain power behind the questions, and I've just been kind of riding backseat. I say, to my knowledge, with that RVD match, because I do remember a previous hot tag trivia question whenever we were all asking stuff, and I remember something about Hardy being the last European champion. I believe, in my opinion, that a unification does not count as being a Eurocontinental champion because it's a unification. It's taking two belts and calling it one thing. Like whenever they unified, the WWE, the World Heavyweight title, the big gold belt, boom, they became the WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
But now, there were still two titles.
Hold on. My point being, they're no longer a Eurocontinental champion. They are just now the Intercontinental champion because we're
and that's why I'm saying we just throw it out.
I'm not finished.
I know you're not, but
then you obviously
we're burning a candle that we don't need to. I'm saying we throw it out because we know it. We know it for a fact that it happened. I just think that it's a gray area. We don't need to say yay or nay.
And that's what
I say we just throw it out.
And I'm agreeing to the fact that we don't count it because it's a unification. That's my thought on it.
All right. No. I'm saying we throw out the Maniac's answer. So if we say it and he doesn't have it, or if we don't say it and he does have it, regardless, I don't think that should be counted because it's a gray area. We obviously are just sitting here discussing and knowing that it happened and the exact circumstances in which it happened under.
Breathe,
it's just a matter of the parlance.
Breathe. All right. Well, then, you know what? I'm stepping in as producer here. I'm stepping in. Okay? The people power here. Producer power. So, all right. So let's just say we're asterisking RVD. It's out. It's out of our answer. So right now we have 3.
Correct.
Are we going to go with 3? I think that's logical because, like I said, before D'Lo, there was nothing, and after Angle, there was nothing. It's literally the Delta and the Alpha here. Like, it's in the middle. The only thing... Listen, the only thing we have, and I believe Ransom on this one, because Ransom, you are a font of knowledge, okay?
Useless Leroy, if you will.
Well, it's not useless whenever we're going up against the mid-card maniac, the mid-card mani-pad. So, like,
wow.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, I feel like this is a very solid answer. I feel like
Here's
3.
My question. I just want to double back on Ransom real quick.
Don't.
No. Look,
all right, go ahead.
I don't recall Jeff Jarrett ever holding the European title, and I could be wrong. Owen Hart, I know, held the European and Intercontinental titles.
Not at the same time, though. I don't ever remember him doing that.
I was just going to say, are you sure he lost the titles to Jarrett and not Owen? That was my only question.
If you're asking me if I'm 100% sure, no. I'm 80 to 85% sure.
If you
know that... I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you were like, I'm 60% sure, I'm 50% sure, that wouldn't have been enough and we could continue discussion. But Ransom, your 85 is other people's 1,376.
I'm 100% sure that D'Lo Brown lost both titles in one match. That I'm 100% clear on. And if I'm not, I will happily forfeit my spot on the next show for the Maniac. I'm fairly confident that it was to Jeff Jarrett, but I'm second guessing a few things now that Beef brought out Owen Hart, because that's a definite possibility. Owen Hart was on fire during that point. So
if the last year has taught me anything, it's go with your gut, because when you ignore your gut, then things go south really hard.
Yep. I'm sticking. I'm gonna say my final answer would be D'Lo, Jeff Jarrett, and Angle. That's my 3. I think we're good with that. That's my opinion. Poot.
I'm with Tom on this one.
Okay, Ransom.
I'm gonna go with the consensus because, like I said, I don't want to lead anybody astray. If it was Owen Hart, that's definitely on me because I didn't think of him. But if you're asking me if I'm 100% sure that it was Jeff Jarrett, no. I'm not 100% on that.
No one's asking for 100%. But 85 is good enough. Gentlemen, we're playing for my seat because he's already called his spot that he wants to take the position.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, then.
geez.
All right.
The Maniac's getting rough.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Okay.
And I jabbed back and I said, "Yeah, well, too bad I didn't offer that, huh?" Winky face. I'm not going to be a jackass. Like, I intentionally didn't say it because that way I can blush and be like, "Oh, I didn't say that." But you know what? I'm not going to be the dick. If Maniac wants my position for a week, have at it. But being that I believe Poot's right. Ransom's 85% is like the world's 100. So I'll take that and run with it. So we're going to say, let me just reread the question for like the fourth time. You have to get tell me who the Eurocontinental champions were. You have to get the exact number. If there were 4 and you guess 5, even if you name the correct 4, you lose. So we are going with 3 of them. D'Lo Brown, Jeff Jarrett, Kurt Angle. Is that the consensus?
Lock
Yes.
it in, baby.
All right,
Yep,
we're
I'm
locked
good.
in.
I'm good with that.
Like the master lock, it's fucking locked in.
All right.
Oh,
Midcard
boy.
Maniac says, I'm calling trickery on the last one, but I also know that you all would never cheat, except for maybe Beef. Wow, hurtful.
That is
Yes.
hurtful. Beef is an honorable man.
Who, if I win his spot. He's calling a shot.
Yeah.
Answer is 3 Eurocontinental champions, so we got the number right. D'Lo Brown, Jeff Jarrett, Kurt Angle, son of a bitch, Ransom.
Yes.
Ah!
And you know what, Midcard? I'll piggyback on what Ransom said there. He's 100% right. He knows the Attitude Era in and out. However, you're not going to gain much tread before or after because I'm fairly proficient with the Federation days as they were, as well as the Ruthless Aggression Era and thereafter. So I think that between the 4 of us, you don't have a leg to stand on. So
We got a lot to.
Midcard Maniac, once again, you have brought your best shot at the champs. And once again, you lose, sir. You get nothing.
Well, maybe the best strategy then is like real early, like 80s WWF.
Oh,
I can tell you this.
you
I don't-
you
or-
spoiled
I really
it.
don't know jack shit about that.
I you know what? I'm not going to give the maniac ammunition, but I'll tell you fellas what his best bet would be. After we burrito this thing.
Oh,
All right. Well,
yeah,
I'll tell.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Allow me, guys. Thank you all so much for listening to the P3 podcast, and thank you, Midcard Maniac, for trying, kid. You'll get us one day. And if you have any questions for Stump the Champs, please go ahead and email it to Beef, if you would.
Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast at gmail.com. 2 emails, please. 1 with the question, the second with the answer. And as the Midterm Maniac so wonderfully does, in the answer email, make sure you have a couple lines written in there so that I don't see the answer in the preview. Otherwise, we'll throw out your question, disqualified.
You
I don't
will
know that we
get
do that,
nothing.
but
No
I
fizzy
could
lick.
not participate. So, and that's the
I
way.
award you no points. Good day.
Good
We
day.
would not handicap ourselves. So
We-
yeah, do that, and we'd be happy to take on all comers as we tend to do.
And also make sure you check us out on Facebook. Look for Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast and give us a like on our page and comment on our stuff and let us know how dumb we are. You also give us a subscribe on YouTube and I'm going to do it for my first time. You guys ready? Ring that bell so that you get all the notifications. From
Ding,
us.
ding,
Ugh,
ding.
I feel dirty saying that. But again, search for Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast or P3 Podcast. You will see it on there. Give us a subscribe. And you can find the audio version of these episodes over on Anchor.fm or on Spotify, on iTunes, Google Podcasts. We are everywhere you can find high quality podcasts, and you can listen to them if you're in Japan, you can listen to them if you're in Europe, you can listen to them in Canada, or if you're all the way down in North Carolina. So you need to make sure you do that, okay? And make sure you check out our sponsors as well. That is Casual Gaming Dad himself, Mr. Tiger.
Uppercut.
Bomb Tom and his page Casual Gaming Dad over on Facebook. And you can also join Casual Gaming Dad's Corner, keep up with other streamers, post your own stuff as long as it gets administrative approval, and find him over on YouTube and Twitch. That's Casual Gaming Dad and Casual Gaming Dad 84. Also, thank you to Mr. Sean Tischler. Sean, we are really looking forward to the next time we can come out and actually see some live independent wrestling. Love seeing these guys, love seeing them all grow, and we really are looking forward to it for the next time. For Mr. Beef the Legend, Mr. Alec Frigoff Ransom, our director of what do you say, social
Creative
media,
content.
whatever. Yeah, creative content. Our director, administrative director of creative content. Myself, Poot the Bard, baby. And also, you know what? Subscribe to Poot the Bard on YouTube, because why not? And also subscribe to Mr. Alec Ransom's channel. That is Frigoff Ransom over on YouTube. He's hilarious.
1G, F-R-I-G, 1G.
F-R-I-G space O-F-F space R-A-N-S-O-M. Frigoff Ransom. You will love it. He is hilarious. One of the funniest guys I know. And of course, for our reigning, defending, undisputed cruiserweight champion, Mr. Tiger Bomb Tom himself. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful day, evening, night, whenever you're listening to this. Fare thee well.
Guess you got a little bit more ransom than you thought, suckers.